I'd like to talk about the controversy surrounding Jason Aldean's Try That in a Small Town, and specifically Anthony Fantano's response to it. I'd never heard of this artist before, and having heard the song, it's not really my thing. The narrative of the song is basically this. He's saying that all the BLM rioting and vandalism that took place over the last few years wouldn't be tolerated in a small town. And you can see in the music video he shows clips of actual BLM riots. And that message seems pretty obvious to me, but apparently not everyone, as it's generated a lot of outrage. And Anthony Fantano uploaded this video about it, saying, "Is this song racist?" For those of you who don't know, Anthony Fantano, as pictured here, has another channel called The Needle Drop, where he reviews music. He's very prominent within the sphere, and for good reason. His music reviews are fantastic. His political takes, however, not so much.
Let's talk about the big controversy in country music at the moment. That would be the new Jason Aldean song, Try That in a Small Town, which has come under so much political fire that even CMT, pretty much the institution that wrecked country music and made it as horrible as it is today, has pulled the music video.
Someone getting cancelled because of fake racist allegations. I've never heard of that before. Oh wait, Anthony cancelled his whole tour in 2017 for the very same thing. People baselessly accusing him of being racist without any real evidence.
Currently, right-wing talking heads and grifters are getting behind the track and saying, "Oh, we love Jason Aldean."
I find it really ironic that he's accusing other people of being grifters, but I'll get more into that in a moment.
So what is the big deal behind this track? Are the allegations that it's racist or bigoted true?
I'm sure he's going to give some hard-hitting evidence that warranted this music video being cancelled.
Well, it's pretty dog-whistly with a lot of open threats of violence, I'll say that. Because the whole narrative of the track is like based in this psychotic fantasy that you're going to be there and see somebody committing a crime and you're going to be able to enact some vigilante justice.
Threats of violence, vigilanteism, sounds terrible, right? Back in 2020, after the George Floyd incident, Fantano was posting stuff like this on Instagram. If you wish the protests were more peaceful, well, that's been tried again and again. This has been a long time coming. He even says people are rightly tired of it. So if you're tired of police killings, as few as they are, you're justified in rioting and non-peaceful protest and destruction of property. But if you're tired of people looting, destroying your city, and in some cases murdering people defending their business, then you just have to shut up and deal with it. Watch your city get burned. Otherwise, you're a racist. Because vigilantes and violence are okay sometimes, as long as Fantano says it is. And remember, Orange Man bad when he told protesters to march on the Capitol building peacefully and patriotically to make their voices heard. But when Anthony Fantano says violent protests are okay, it's all good.
Not to mention some of the things mentioned in the song, like lighting a flag on fire and stomping on it. It's not even a crime. And cussing a cop out, I mean, that's between the cop and the cusser. No big gang of good old boys needed.
Okay, still waiting on the evidence for racism, because what you've shown so far is just someone being sick and tired of all the BLM protests. No racism.
And that's the thing, the whole song is just like a really gross, violent, open threat.
And again, violence is okay. Sometimes.
With a lot of the rhetoric just reading like what we saw conservatives saying about Black Lives Matter protests in 2020.
It's the classic, mostly peaceful protests. I, unlike you, am not a hypocrite, because I don't advocate for violence or vigilanteism on either side. But for you, vigilanteism is allowed by the BLM protesters, but not by the people who disagree with the BLM protesters. They just have to shut up and watch their city be destroyed.
Even a part of the music video had been shot in front of a courthouse that was used as a lynching site, which makes it sort of obvious what kind of vigilante justice Jason is alluding to here, even if he was ignorant to that historical fact.
That's it, folks. The smoking gun. A building in the music video was once used for lynching. And even if the singer didn't know that, he's still obviously a racist. Because this is the best evidence he has to offer. Why do you even pretend to present evidence if either way you're going to declare him a racist? So all in all, he presented no evidence that this song was racist, but came to the conclusion anyway. And as usual, it's snowflake liberals like the needle drop being outraged for the black community. I searched for reaction videos, a pretty unbiased search, and I actually got the title of the song wrong, I see now. But anyway, it was a pretty unbiased search, and I looked through the results to find any negative reaction. Yeah, so this first one here, we can skip Shapiro because we don't really care what he says.
Hold on before they get into that little guitar solo.
Okay.
So, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I agree. I agree with what he said.
And that's what he's speaking about too, as far as like people breaking into like businesses and things like that, like looting.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Tell me how this junk is racist. I feel like the people that's calling it racist, they're the racist ones. You know why? Oh, let me guess. Because half of the things he's talking about criminals, y'all. Keep that in mind. He's talking about criminals. Black people is not the only criminals.
That's it? I didn't really get anything even close to anything being racist in that video. I'm not going, this is not nowhere near racist, man. This is actually, man, we probably need more music that exemplifies this, to be honest, man. That community, that family, that love.
I am definitely perplexed. To me, it's directly highlighting all that nonsense going on, like I said, with all the looting and like they damn near trying to declare martial law in some cities in America right now because people are going so crazy.
In this video, he wasn't like clipping just black people. You know what I mean? Like he's clipping like people who were not protesting, but rioting. Mm-hmm. Like those are the parts that he's like, no, this isn't.
Burgling scenes were white and black people.
For sure. Yeah. I actually rarely saw any black people in here.
They try to cancel him for this. I'm not one of them black reactors. Y'all know I'll call this stuff out like that. I don't get racism out of this because he didn't just show one color. He showed everybody fighting, and he just saying like, try that where I'm from.
And according to Aldean, that was the message of the song. He says it's about taking care of your neighbors and community. He says there's not a single lyric in the song that references race. And I have to believe that, because Anthony Fantano couldn't find it either. It's funny how much the needle drop has changed. Gone are the days, like back in 2016, when Anthony featured in this anti-SJW video, alongside Sargon of Akkad, the amazing atheist, and others.
What are you afraid will happen when you leave your safe space? Have you guys tried drinking this shit? It's great.
This clip about the N-word.
Why I don't use the N-word, okay? My position on not using the word and why I have so diligently, not used the word and have completely avoided the word when sort of, publicly engaging in online spaces.
Called Ian a faggot.
Wow, I admire your diligence. And by the way, I added in those bleeps. If you want the uncensored version, I can link it in the description. I'm not pointing this out to accuse him of being racist, just to point out how he's changed. He says the N-word here, quoting someone else. But if I were to apply Anthony's logic, I would say, whether or not he's quoting someone else using the N-word, he's still a racist, obviously. He's gone from someone that was baselessly accused of pandering to the alt-right and being a racist, to being the one who makes those baseless accusations. Pathetic.
The whole point of this article is to prove that I'm alt-right. Alt-right is right in the title, but he couldn't mention this until the very end of the article, or that he had so little evidence of this that it ends up here at the finish.
You could pretty much say that exact same thing about Anthony's video on Aldean.
Even a part of the music video had been shot in front of a courthouse that was used as a lynching site. which makes it sort of obvious what kind of vigilante justice Jason is alluding to here, even if he was ignorant to that historical fact.
The article also brings up my avoidance of using the N-word in my reviews.
Called Ian a faggot.
The article comes back to the N-word and insinuates that casually rattling it off with no care in the world is essentially the equivalent of me talking about memes and genres of memes that prominently feature that word in the meme itself.
Well, I would say, whether or not Fantano was referencing a meme or not, it's still obvious that he's a racist.
Trying to paint me as being in bed with a racist political movement based off of mimetic humor and a guy whose alt-right sympathies wouldn't surface until after his Adult Swim show aired?
Well, I would say that whether or not you were hanging out with him before or after his alt-right sympathies emerged, you're still obviously a racist. Just to be clear, I don't actually think Fantano is racist. I'm just applying his logic, or lack thereof, to his past. I do really like Fantano. It's just a shame to see what a snowflake he's become. And like every contemporary liberal, he carelessly and recklessly throws around the label racist without any evidence, despite that being done to him in the past.
Hi everyone, Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd.